introduction, and I'm not going to, I have so many friends here, people that made the difference in the election, and people that are personal friends, but there are just a few people very few that I want to mention. The first is, this is the first public occasion that I've had to congratulate my dear friend, Michael Hancock. I'm so happy that you're here tonight with the Webbs and the rest of us. Chris Ott and Jeremy Simons are here in the room. Mark Udall, who, you know, let me just say, the level of dysfunction in Washington is actually worse than you think it is. I'm talking about that tonight. And believe it or not, it actually extends to delegations of senators themselves. What I want to assure you is this: you don't have a pair of people who work better than the two of us together, and that is largely because of Mark Udall's students. And a last sort of point of privilege, since it's off a little bit off topic, but for all of the friends that are here that have worked so hard to call to the attention of the administration these needless and unhelpful deportations. Fighting is something that's very important, and I want to thank One Colorado for your fight, for hosting this event, for the incredibly impressive work. I couldn't go anywhere in this campaign without running into somebody from One Colorado. All of the work that you've done to advance the cause of equality across the state, and it's hard to believe how much this organization has achieved in such a short time. Congress could learn a lot from One for Colorado. Lessons around coalition building, working across party lines and political ideologies, and moving the state forward on important issues like civil unions, anti-bullying, and non-discrimination in the workforce. Unfortunately, the dysfunction in the town Mark and I have to spend 4 days a week in has grown so pervasive and perverse that you would think the business of the people has just about gone out of business. You can blame it on overly rigid partisan agendas that have turned compromise into a dirty word. It's clear that things aren't working, and they aren't working at the expense of our progress and our nation's future. And in that difficult context, like Mark, I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of legislation such as the Student Non-Discrimination Act, an anti-bullying measure designed to support LGBT students, and the Employment Non-Discrimination Act that would help put an end to workplace bias based on sexual orientation. I'm proud also to stand here as a co-sponsor of the Respect for Marriage Act, which, if passed, of Marriage Act and allow married same-sex couples to receive the same federal marriage benefits as everyone else. You may think it's inconsistent to say there should be no federal role in anything except regulating marriage, but here we are. We're going to have to fix it. The federal government shouldn't pick or choose which marriages to recognize, and discrimination against any particular community or class should not be codified and enshrined in federal law. Rather than engaging in tired political battles that ultimately have led us in circles to nowhere, Congress should be moving these pieces of legislation forward and continuing the historic march toward equality. And we are on the march. There is no one that embodies that struggle more than Wilma Webb. She has spent a lifetime taking on the tough fights to broaden opportunities and correct injustices wherever they exist. She was the first woman of color to sit on the Joint Budget Committee of the State House. She worked tirelessly to pass a bill adopting the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday here in Colorado. We forget today how hard that was at that time and what it took. And she has been instrumental in developing anti-drug abuse programs and working to strengthen local families and communities. And not to mention the years she spent managing a certain 6'7" former mayor. In 1991, Mrs. Webb introduced House Bill 1059, a bill that would have strengthened the state civil rights provisions. This bill attempted to add sexual orientation to Colorado's existing hate crime statute. It was the first of its kind for Colorado. And while it ultimately didn't pass, it set the precedent for comprehensive hate crimes legislation that finally became law in 2005 and included specific protections for LGBT Colorado. In April 2009, Alan Andretti was convicted of murder in the first degree and for bias-motivated hate crime by a jury in Greeley for the death of Angie Zapata. Angie was bludgeoned to death for no other reason than her identity as a GLBT person. The case marked the first time a hate crime has successfully been prosecuted in this state. Incidents such as this underline the importance of the legislation that Wilma Webb fought for and that ultimately passed at the state and federal level of government. Like Mark, I'm a co-sponsor of the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which passed Congress about 2 years ago. Wilma helped lay the foundation. Wilma helped lay the foundation for this important policy that strengthens and promotes safe communities all across the United States of America. Like Wilma, we're all allies for equality because, in my case, I want my little girls to grow up in a world that allows every American in every Colorado, including our GLBT friends and neighbors, to be safe in their communities, openly serve our country, earn a living, and take care of the ones they love. Today, we stand with Wilma Webb against violence, hatred, and intolerance, and for a community and a country that respects and values the dignity of every last Coloradan. We continue this fight to ensure our nation lives up to its highest ideals, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for every American. And we will do that by working together. Thank you, One Colorado. And now I'd like to present one of the 2011 Ally Awards to somebody who deeply deserves it, Wilma Webb.